My name is Piers MacNaughton. I'm the Vice President of Product and Health at View. Real estate is the largest asset class in the world. It consumes 40% of the world's energy. It's also where we spend 90% of our time. And so it's obviously a huge opportunity for both climate change as well as public health to target real estate as a area of improvement. It's also incredibly inefficient. So let's start with space. Space is probably the most primary metric when you think about real estate. Take any given human, take myself. I take up 2 cubic feet if you were to melt me down. And on a typical office, you'll have 1,000 times that, 2,000 cubic feet of space that's provided for that occupant. Daylight is similar. We're actually just as inefficient there about bringing in adequate daylight into indoor spaces. It's a free resource, it's universally available. That being said, even at 100,000 lux outside, we're only seeing 100 lux inside of daylight. And that's less than 1%, it's 0.1% of the daylight that we have available that's actually making it indoors. That's because we have these static design elements, things like overhangs, blinds, frit. These end up being designed for the worst case scenario, that element of glare that you might have. And because of that, it's forcing the building to really be designed to be darker, to take away those glare conditions, but bring in less light when those times when you do want it. When it comes to air, we're only marginally better. We provide 20 cubic feet per minute of outdoor air per person at the ASHRAE minimum ventilation standard. That being said, we only breathe 0.2 cubic feet per minute. So that's 100x the amount of air we're providing is what we actually need as humans. That's not to say that we're overventilating. We know that buildings often have air pollution issues. We have indoor sources of pollutants, so we have to control those indoor sources. At the same time, we have to stop ventilating the empty spaces where we don't have people. Lastly, let's talk about energy. Obviously, if you're providing all this fresh air, you're conditioning it much more than you need. You're bringing in not enough daylight, so you need electrical lighting. A typical building usually consumes about 20 gigajoules of energy per person per year, and you can easily achieve 2 gigajoules per person per year if you were able to condition the air effectively, able to provide daylight instead of electric light. You could bring down that energy consumption down to 10% of what it is. Let's take View. View is only one solution. There's so many others out there, but it is one that contributes to many of these endpoints. We think about space. Obviously, with View, we're able to bring people up to the edge of the building, reclaim that floor space. We've seen projects of ours where they're able to go back and redesign the layouts and put in more people, to put 25% more desks in. So that's one opportunity to increase the space utilization. And then the same goes with daylight. Projects with View, you have twice as much daylight coming in because you're able to dynamically control that daylight across the course of the day relative to projects that rely on traditional blinds. The combination of those two things, when you're bringing in daylight when you need it and you're blocking the solar heat when you don't have it, that helps keep out that extra solar heat, reduce the air conditioning load, and also reduce that energy consumption by upwards of 10-20% depending on the project. So when you put that all together, you have 1,000 times the amount of space compared to what people are occupying. You have 100 times the amount of air being brought in as what people actually need to breathe. You have 1,000 times as much daylight available versus what you're actually getting inside. And you're using probably 10 times as much energy as you need for these buildings. So just orders of magnitude differences in terms of what's actually needed to make a building sustainable as well as work for people. And we're just not there yet. So there's so much opportunity for us to change how real estate's operated to make this better for people while still being way more sustainable at the same time.